guy just walks over to me, looks me right in my eyes and said, I don't like black people. I looked him back in his eyes and said, why you don't like black people? He took a sip of his vodka, a tug of his cigar, and he turned his head and blew the smoke. He said, man, you guys are the most gifted athletically. You're physically strong, but you're mentally weak. He said, y'all still slaves. You're just mentally slaves. You're still filling up the prisons. You're still killing each other. They just don't have the chains on you. If it was us and they tried to enslave us, they would have to kill all of us. Because dying is better than being a slave. And I grabbed him in his, I don't know, $30,000 suit, and I told him that's exactly how I feel. And I have a tough time showing my kinsmen, other black people, exactly what the you're talking about. But I'm not that guy. I let his shirt go. He looked at me and he said, you're the first I ever met. And he shook my hand. And I actually respect him for coming to me so boldly and so strongly, telling me exactly what he thinks. This Russian guy just went.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I am Friendship Pearson, and welcome again to my channel. Praise God, from whom all blessings flow. May the Lord keep us and guide us and direct us. Thank God for Jesus, the Holy Spirit, and yes, Lord, send your angels, because we are one day closer to that coming. Jesse Jackson has died. Yes, the Jesse Jackson has died. I knew one day I would have to address this. I've done a few videos on him over the last year plus. So, excuse me, I might be all over the place. I broke down a little bit and shed a few tears. Some folks might be like, well, Pearson, why are you shedding a few tears this morning? You see, because some people think he was a sellout. They believe he was part of the boule. He was controlled. He was a front man for the groups out here that are steering blacks in the wrong direction. I want you to take a pause. I want you to take a pause because I'm going to address this from the inside and now just from the outside. There are books out there called The Shakedown and other books about how Jesse would utilize the black weight, if you want to describe it that way, as a way to go into corporations and say, look, you give me X amount of money or X amount of opportunity for other black people, and I won't boycott your product. I've heard it all. There are those who know about, I'll just say the alleged period where Jesse Jackson was getting money from the federal government, and there was a quote unquote alleged misappropriation of funds. And then Jesse Jackson had to leave Operation Push here in the South Side of Chicago. He went to Atlanta. He went to Washington State. Then he wound up coming back. When he wound up coming back, they changed the name from Operation Push to the Rainbow Coalition. You can fill in the blank as to what rainbow really means. So I know enough to speak on Reverend Jesse Jackson. Let me say from the outset, my condolences to friends and family. There are a lot of things that I know that I would take to the grave with me. It is what it is. I'm built a certain way. And the timing and rhythm is everything. I do believe Jesse Jackson has been dead, but they waited for a moment to announce it. That's just what I believe. I will show that to you. Only 2 places I'll show numbers. I didn't want to do a full decode on it. I just want to talk. So, condolences to his wife, his daughter Santita, Jonathan Jackson, and Jesse Jackson Jr., to my former home churches, the New Covenant Baptist Church, Southside Chicago, and the Verdant Park Church of God, also Southside Chicago. People, I knew this man. I knew this man on so many levels. I met him through people. I met Reverend Jesse Jackson through my mom, who worked for Reverend Jesse Jackson, and my godmother, Reverend Taplin Barrow. I'm just gonna go through some things, and I'm trying not to make it long. But let's get into it, and I'll talk from there. Reverend Jesse Jackson has died. And what you need to know and understand about this video, the Black Civil Rights Movement, I figured out when I was young that there was a hidden hand at work steering and controlling and directing the Black movement. And Black leaders had a choice. But when you snuff out JFK, when I say snuff out, you unalive. When you unalive JFK, Bobby Kennedy, Malcolm X, Dr. King, and I could be all day going down the line of Black leadership, economically and politically and socially, that were trying to make change and a betterment so we could have a piece of this pie in America. When you see them, maybe just murdered, sometimes you devise a plan where you try to still get things done for your people. In my humble opinion, Jesse had to know, allegedly, what I just said to you. I want to say also condolences to Jesse Jackson's half-brother, Noah Roberts, and also condolences to Jesse Jackson's half-brother, Noah Roberts, and his girlfriend, or maybe his wife by now. Sarah Vaughan, like the singer, that's her name. Let's just start.
Tonight, we come together bound by our faith in a mighty God with genuine respect and love for our country and inheriting the legacy of a great party. The Democratic Party, which is the best hope for redirecting our nation on a more humane, just, and peaceful course. This is not a perfect party. We're not a perfect people. Yet we are called to a perfect mission. Our mission: to feed the hungry, to clothe the naked, to house the homeless, to teach the illiterate, to provide jobs for the jobless, and to choose the human race over the nuclear race. We are gathered here this week to nominate a candidate and adopt a platform which will expand, unify, direct, and inspire our party and the nation.
What I can tell you is that, because I used to listen to this man every Saturday at Dr. King's workshop on the south side of Chicago, he's got to be tops, if not the top orator of his moment. I watched this man. I felt this man. He was gifted. We used to celebrate our birthdays together at Operation Push, Dr. King's workshop. Reverend Jesse Jackson's birthday is October 8th. My birthday was October 9th. Jesse, my mom, and my godmother, Reverend Willie Barrow, and also I want to say Reverend Reddick, who died as well. They gave me an opportunity to be the youth, I guess, director. I used to speak every Saturday at Operation Push to the youth, motivational speaker, do poems. They gave me an opportunity to do the Lord's will. No, Jesse wasn't perfect, but he gave me an opportunity. Was it for his benefit or his organization? I'm not going to debate that. What I can tell you is that all the things said about Jesse and the alleged money thing, allegedly it's probably true. I mean, but people, when you get a status level and you indirectly work for these powers, you're going to have a shame moment. They're going to take you down. My mom worked closely with Reverend Jesse Jackson. She was on the board where she helped make decisions. She would come home crying and telling me about the alleged money misappropriations and how she was going to go to the media about it. And I begged her not to do it. My mom wound up going to, I believe it was Channel 5 or Channel 7 at the time, but I know it was Carol Marie. Carol Marie, you can look her up. She's an anchor. I think she's still doing news. Carol Marie of Chicago. And also, I believe she interviewed with Walter Jacobson, Channel 2 News back in the day. I begged my mom not to do it. I'm like, Mom, this is bigger than what you know. But my mom went on TV and she, quote unquote, exposed the inner workings of Operation Push. And after that, like I said, Jesse Jackson, he went to Washington State to try to make that, I think he was going to run for congressman or something, make it the 51st state. And also he went to Atlanta. I wasn't that close to really know what was going on. I was a kid. I was, 17, 18, whatever. I was just doing my thing, preaching the gospel. But I saw a lot. I worked for a newspaper at the time, which I'll show you. I'm not making excuses, but maturity makes you see things that you otherwise won't see when you're younger. Jesse allegedly probably figured this out. Look, I have an opportunity to help my people, and yes, he did help himself. He became a millionaire. His family got golden opportunities. Jesse Jackson owned or was affiliated with, somehow with his family. He owned a brewery. Yeah, he owned a brewery and he was associated or he owned a brewery, Anheuser-Busch. By the same token, he helped people, the people that I interviewed and talked with and read about. Jesse allegedly had an inner circle. So if it wasn't, I mean, I put it to you like this. You're a heavyweight person as a black person during that period of time. And you had this movement behind you. You come out of the loins of the Dr. King moment. And your word could really hurt a company or even sink its ship. So was Jesse using it as leverage to shake down companies so he could get money for himself and his organization and other people to get in positions? I'll let you decide. But I know it created opportunity. I know if you're my age and you're from Chicago, you remember the Black McDonald's Association came out of that. A lot of blacks started getting the black fast food restaurants. You probably remember Soft Sheen hair products, Essence and Ebony magazine. I can go down the road. Hair care. We got positions around the world. I want to say we had a Cadillac. I can't think of the name of the Cadillac dealer. Maybe Johnson's Cadillac. We had blacks that had their own automobile franchisee selling cars. A lot of things came out of that movement, and all I'm saying is that there were some positive things that came out of Operation Push, but yet part of the legacy is that if you're allegedly misappropriating funds, then you really can't lead as a black person. People, let me say this to you. Sometimes people of all races, we get positions and we get in position. And unfortunately, we choose to go along to get along. I'm not making excuses, I'm just saying I was on the inside, my mom was on the inside. Jesse's top people were my friends, Reverend Reddick, my godmother, Reverend Taplin Barrow. Those were my friends. Those were my heroes at the time. I didn't know my dad. I'm just saying that I have a different take and different perspective because I was on the inside, trying to hone my skills as a writer, as an orator, as a poet, doing music. Jesse called a big meeting back in the day with all the major TV and radio stations. I've said this before, and they came to Operation Push, and I was the youth spokesman. The dirty rap music, calling women B's and H's. Jesse fought against that, and they agreed to not play any more dirty, ratchet black music. And that lasted for about 1.5 years, and then it came back with a flood. What I'm telling you is that Jesse did some good things. I saw it. You gotta remember, my eyes were 17, 18, 19, 20 years old. I was at Operation Push. I think a little bit more, because I'm in my 60s now. But I watched Jesse corral, if you will, very influential, important people, and they came together, and they're like, okay, Jesse, no more dirty music, and that was power. Well, it didn't last long, and now look at us. We got gangster rap and we got drill rap, and blacks are still killing each other. I just want you guys to have a true perspective, because again, I was on the inside, not that deep as my mom. But I begged my mom not to say anything because I figured out at a young age, allegedly what Jesse was doing was bigger than him. And who knows, he might have been set up. There might have been a plant within his organization. And who knows, sometimes you take the bite and you might do things with money you otherwise wouldn't do. Then again, allegedly, he could have been a straight up opportunist. I don't know. But I told my mom, don't expose it. My mom had this fierce spirit about her because she's like, look, we fight with Dr. King, we fight with Reverend Abernathy, now we're fighting for Jesus, now we're fighting for Reverend Jesse Jackson helping the black people. And this is how he doing the money? I'm gonna put allegedly. You just need to get some perspective, people. I know I'm all over the place, but I'm shaking up. And people might say, why are you shaking up? Why did you cry a tear? Because people, it was a missed opportunity. And as a black man, when I look in retrospect till now, the black race as a whole, have we really benefited since the civil rights movement? That's all I'm saying. And that's why I started shedding a tear, because 45 years of me plus looking at this thing, maybe even longer, and being in it with when I tell you I was around the most influential black people in America, and I was around them in my teenage years, all the way to my mid-20s. And I was a part of church that was part of that movement. Check this out. And if I forget to say it, Jesse Jackson paved the way for Barack Obama. And I believe it was all planned that way. Jesse Jackson ran for president twice.
Reverend Jesse Jackson was growing in political stature and his influence on international matters. He traveled to Syria in 1983 to secure the release of a captured American Navy pilot. He helped to negotiate the release of 22 Americans being held in Cuba by Fidel Castro. His private diplomacy found success over the years, as well as his growing political strain. In 1984, Reverend Jackson made his first run for President of the United States.
This is not a black campaign. It's a campaign through the eyes of the hurt and the rejected.
But his primary campaign took a hit when he used derogatory.
Yeah, we won't get into that. His birthday, October 8th. My birthday is October 9th. Like I said, we used to celebrate our birthdays together. You know, we didn't have cell phones back in the day, so he would call my house all the time. Hey, this is Reverend Jesse Jackson. Is Sandra Draper there? He would call for my mom. My mom had great organizational skills, so she was always by Jesse's side, helping him with the movement. Those are fond memories that I had. If you take his birthday literally, that's Reverend Jesse Jackson's birthday, then today is 1/7. 1/7 is big with me. Remember, I said to you guys, January 7th of this year, Renee Good, remember? She was unalive, they say, in Minnesota. She died on 1/7. This is a big number. So today's date from Reverend Jesse Jackson's birthday is 84, like Barack Obama, and 49. What is 8449? This makes a way for Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris was the 49th vice president. Like I said, I believe Jesse has already been dead. I believe they say this moment for this. Jesse's death signifies 84, in my humble opinion, for Barack Obama, and 49 for Kamala Harris to come. That's just what I believe. Now, look at Kamala Harris' birthday is her birthday is October 20th. I guess I X'd it out by accident. Kamala Harris' birthday this year. And then here's today's date. The day Jesse passed. The difference is 8/4. Barack Obama was born August 4th. There's Dr. King. My mom worked for Dr. King. And it's my baby here. This is the lady who was the most powerful person. You might as well call her his vice president. That's Reverend Chaplain Barrow. I became her godson. That's Reverend Jesse Jackson. Everywhere she went, I went. Everywhere. When I say everywhere, everywhere. I chauffeured her around. We just got close. She lost her son, and I lost my mom to substance abuse mentally before I lost her physically. And she became my mom. And I was everywhere with her. So like I said, I was on the inside. One of the things that benefited back in the day, August 4th, which is 8/4/1997, that's Barack Obama's birthday. Look at that. August 4th, 1977. You guys probably remember the TV show called Jubilee Showcase. That's Sit or Die. Sit or Die was very close to the black movement. He used to give opportunities for blacks to be on his TV show. I could go on. I could reminisce all day, but this was through. It says the New Covenant Baptist Church. I was a part of that church before I became part of Vernon Park Church, where I met my godmother. I was a part of this church first. That's Sit or Die. That's me right here. That's me in the choir. I was a shorty. That's me right there. That's me singing in the choir. That's what I mean by opportunity. Blacks were starting to get a little traction in America and in Chicago. Let me just go through this right quick. Let's see. I've hit all the points. That's good. I think I've hit everything. I'm going to get into the NWO at a minute. Just checking my notes. Black people galvanized around Jesse and other black leaders for growth, opportunity, unity, justice, community. Little did we know that the black civil rights movement and the leaders, a lot of them were being manipulated, steered by a hidden hand, so we could blend with a system guiding us into the one world system. Not all black leaders, but the majority. That's what I figured out. Now, because I was at Operation Push every Saturday I was there as a youth minister. I'll start out with this. See that there? August 31st, 1979, Jimmy Carter was president, and I wrote this article, Jesse Jackson Defends Andrew Young. Then I wrote about the New World Order. You can see the dates. The New World Order. I'm going to get into all that in a second. Just want to show you my receipts. October 26th, the New World Order. January 4th, the New World Order. January 18th, the New World Order. I used to hang around a lot of ministers back in the day. That was just my thing, in Indiana and Chicago. And I learned about the one world government and the one world system to come. And so what happened back in the day, the same thing that's going on right now, there was a rift, so to speak, in the Middle East like it is now. It was the Palestinian, the PLO, Palestinian Liberation Organization of Yasser Arafat, the leader, Menachem Begin of Israel, Anwar Sadat of Egypt. It was noted and it was alleged that Andrew Young, who was our first black ambassador working under President Jimmy Carter, went over to the Middle East and he was negotiating, allegedly, with the PLO to try to make peace in the Middle East. When the word got out, or maybe he was exposed, I don't know, the first thing he did was go to Reverend Jesse Jackson, Operation Push. At that point, Operation Push had become so, let's say, twined in the political sphere. You had to have special tickets to get up in there. And because I had already been there and I had the contacts, I was able to get there. Jesse Jackson did a speech defending Andrew Young. I covered it. When I got there, I got a press pass because I was with also this Christian newspaper, the Christian Citizen. Make a long story short, I have dockets, I have information and speeches from Reverend Jesse Jackson where he talked about the New World Order, okay? I didn't know what it was at that extent. I had been reading about it, but I still couldn't grasp the concept. Now this is 1979. I had known about the New World Order, I think, since 1976. So, make a long story short, it took me a long time to convince my editor to do these. And thank God that he did, because now you see my receipts. There was no internet then, so I was always at the library. I discovered that the Pope, President George Herbert Bush, Fidel Castro, Andrew Young, Reverend Jesse Jackson, and a few other people had talked about the New World Order. And I went to find out about it. That's why I talk about it today. Again, I was in it, but at the time, you really couldn't talk about it, so I had to be careful. Jesse was backing Andrew Young, saying he was set up, and then I wrote about it. As you can see, I wrote tons of articles about it, and I'm still talking about it. I'm convinced the Black movement, if you get anything else from this short presentation, because I could speak hours about what I saw, if you get anything else from it, know that blacks and other groups have been controlled in America. We should have had much more. Did Jesse do more harm than good? I'll let you decide. I just know that the people that were close to him, if you had a talent and if you played ball, you could benefit. I'm not calling it negative, I'm just saying that's just the way life is. Again, I beg my mom not to say anything about the finances, but who knows, my mom allegedly, she could have been right. She could have been 100% right. But what I would say personally is that Jesse was an inspiration to me. Every speech that I heard him speak was thunderous, and it was moving. And I needed that at that age. I needed to have a mentor, directly and indirectly, so I could become the man that I am. I eventually split from that because to me it got too political. Jesse was in my church a lot. I remember him sitting in the pulpit with a lollipop. Yeah, I remember Jesse Jackson sitting in the pulpit at my church with a lollipop. He liked lollipops. And what I can tell you is that he was inspiration to me. I met his family, I met his wife, I met his half brother. I could go all day. Salute. Thank you for your service. It has been very controversial. I'm not taking up for him. There is such a thing as a boule in America and around the world. Was he a part of it? I don't know. Is his family a part of it? I don't know. What I can tell you is this. There will never be a black leader in America that goes to any heights, whether it's political, social, or entertainment, without being influenced by this hidden hand. And if you get too far off track, you end up like Dr. King. You know what happened to him. Many people believe that Jesse knew that Dr. King was going to get popped and that he was going to be the next in line. Again, I could talk about all the negative and the dirt all day. I'm just telling you from the eyes of a 17, 18, 20, 22, 23-year-old man being influenced by possibly the greatest orator of my lifetime. And so, again, I just want to give you all sides, and I love him. I love his family. If I'm wrong in my assessment about what he did, the dark part, I think I just put perspective on it. I'm not saying I'm wrong or right. I just put perspective on it. But the black movement, in my humble opinion, was always about steering us into and joining the one world system. And if you got out of hand, that's why I believe Dr. King, when it came down talking about the Vietnam War and economics, no, you deal with only social things that I let you talk about. You don't deal with this international Dr. King. And so I believe Dr. King had a wake-up call, and he started serving the Lord more, and it cost him his life. But people, that's it. God bless you. God bless the Jesse family and organizations and the black movement, as Jesse used to say, keep hope alive. God bless.